The wind carried the sound long before he saw it. A dry, uneven rattle, rope scraping against wood. Then came the muffled whimper. Rancher Cole Everett stopped his horse dead in the dust. Beyond the corral, where the men had gathered that afternoon, something hung against the fence line. He dismounted, boots sinking into the fading light of evening. There she was, a young woman, wrists bound to the split-rail fence, dust caked to her cheeks, hat knocked off somewhere in the dirt. Her lip was split, but her eyes, those were what stopped him cold, defiant, still burning. Cole crouched, jaw locked. "Who did this?" Her voice rasped. "Town boys. Said I talk too much. Said women shouldn't." The words came out cracked, but steady. Cole looked around the empty yard, the laughter from the saloon still echoing faintly across the flats. He recognized the voices earlier. Jensen, Cobb, maybe 3 others who fancied themselves rough stockhands with too much whiskey and too little spine. He pulled out his knife, cutting her free. She staggered, clutching her wrists. "Don't," she said. "If they see—" "They've seen enough," he said, steady as a church bell. The moment hung like the last breath before a storm. He took his coat off, placed it around her shoulders. Her name, he would later learn, was Clara Jameson. Her father had died mining silver in Red Hollow. She'd come west with nothing but a borrowed mule and a tongue too sharp for men who couldn't stand it. He helped her onto his horse. The sky blazed orange behind the buttes, the sun bleeding out across the plains. As they rode toward his ranch, Cole's knuckles whitened around the reins. In every saloon window and stable shadow, laughter still lingered like ghosts. He didn't know it yet, but by freeing her, he'd just declared war on half the town. When the horse crested the ridge, thunder rolled far off in the distance. Not weather, hoofbeats. And the men who tied her were already riding his way. Cole Everett wasn't a lawman. He'd seen what the law was worth out here, paper and pride, nothing more. But as the first stars blinked alive, he saw torchlight moving down the ridge and knew he had to choose, hide the girl or face the fire head-on. Clara sat by the hearth, hands trembling over a tin cup. "They'll come," she said quietly. "They'll say you took their fun." Cole poured black coffee into his own cup. "You ain't anyone's fun." The words carried more weight than he meant them to. She looked up, uncertain whether to thank him or warn him again. A knock came. Not the men yet, but old Harlan Tate, Cole's neighbor and friend for 20 years. He leaned in the doorway, voice low. "Cole, you done something foolish, son." Cole didn't answer right away. Harlan sighed. "Town's stirred up. Those boys are telling everyone she mouthed off about the sheriff, said she ought to hang for it. You keep her here, you'll be next." Cole stared into the fire. The choice burned clear. Turn her over, let things settle, or stand against every drunken coward within 30 miles. He set his cup down, slow. "Then I guess I'll be next." Outside, hoofbeats scattered the quiet again. Not close yet, just the promise of them. Clara spoke softly. "You don't have to do this." "I know," he said, eyes on the window. "But someone does." When the night deepened, Harlan rode back toward town. Cole knew he'd try to talk sense into the others. Or warn them. Hard to tell with Harlan. By midnight, the wind picked up, whistling through the cottonwoods. A lantern swung on the porch, its light trembling. In the silence between gusts, Clara whispered, "They tied me 'cause I said a man don't own another person's voice." Cole looked at her for a long moment. "Then you said what's right." Somewhere down in the valley, a dog barked, then another. A long broken chain of sound carried through the dark. By dawn, Cole's rifle was loaded. He'd made his choice. And before the sun rose, the riders arrived. They came like a storm, 5 men riding hard, dust curling around their horses like smoke. The lead was Jensen, his hat cocked, grin meaner than the desert itself. Cole stepped out onto his porch, rifle in hand. The boards creaked under his boots. Clara watched through the crack of the door, pale and silent. "Well, look here," Jensen called. "The hero of the hour. You done untied our entertainment." Cole said nothing. The rifle hung loose at his side, but his finger never left the guard. Cobb spat in the dust. We just want her to apologize, Everett. Ain't no need for this to get bloody. Cole's eyes narrowed. Then ride home. The air thickened. Someone's horse stamped. In the stillness, every sound, the wind, the leather creak, the buzz of a fly, felt like a countdown. Jensen smirked. You really gonna stand for her? Some loud-mouthed girl you don't even know? Cole's voice came low. I reckon I am. Behind him, Clara moved. He didn't see it, but he felt it. The faint shift in the air as she stepped onto the porch, chin high despite the tremble in her hands. You want me? She said. Then look at me when you say it. Jensen's grin faltered just long enough for Cole to raise the rifle. The world froze. Then came a single sound. Click. Not a shot. Not yet. Just a warning. The men shifted in their saddles, uneasy now. Jensen spat. You think you can scare us? Cole's jaw tightened. No, I think I can stop you. Cobb leaned forward, eyes hard. You shoot one of us, you'll hang before week's out. Cole's gaze didn't waver. Maybe, but you'll be the one who don't make it to town. Silence again. Then Jensen laughed, a hard, brittle sound, and yanked his reins. All right, Everett. You made your stand, but the town ain't gonna forget this. He turned his horse, but the threat lingered in the dust long after they rode off. Cole lowered his rifle slowly, clair kios, stepped beside him. They'll come back. He nodded. Then we'll be ready. But when night fell again, torches flared on the horizon. This time, there were more of them. The ranch was quiet before the siege began, that strange, heavy quiet before a man knows he'll have to fight. Inside, Clara cleaned a cut on Cole's hand from when he'd split firewood earlier. Her fingers were light, her eyes steady. You ever been scared? She asked. Every man gets scared, he said. What matters is what you do with it. She tied the rag tight, then sat back. When they tied me up, I told myself not to cry. But I did. Then I hated myself for it. Cole shook his head. Crying don't make you weak. Makes you still human. For a long moment, they just listened to the wind. On the mantel sat an old photograph. Faded, sepia, barely holding its shape. Cole's late wife. Clara traced it with her eyes but didn't ask. She didn't need to. I lost her to fever, Cole said quietly. Buried her right by that cottonwood. Thought I'd quit caring after that. But then I saw you on that fence. His voice drifted off. Clara looked toward the window. You cared anyway. Outside, a single torch flickered near the ridge. Cole stood, shoulders heavy but resolute. She rose too. If they come for me, let me face them. He turned to her, almost angry. No, I won't let him touch you again. She stepped closer. Then don't fight for me. Fight because what they did was wrong. He met her eyes. For the first time that night, something like calm settled over him. I'll fight for that, he said. In the silence, she reached into her satchel and pulled out a small silver locket. Inside was a scrap of cloth, her mother's handkerchief. She pressed it into his palm. For luck. The torches began to move now, closer, brighter, dozens of them. Cole pocketed the locket, checked his rifle, and blew out the lantern. The night went black, and when the first torch reached the gate, he whispered, "Stay low." The first shot split the dark wide open. Gunfire cracked across the valley, wild and echoing. The first wave of riders charged through the dust. Cole dropped one before the rest even cleared the fence. He moved with calm precision, every shot deliberate, protecting not land or cattle, but something far rarer: decency. Clara reloaded for him between volleys, hands shaking but sure. Each time the hammer fell, another spark lit the night. When the smoke thinned, only Jensen and Cobb were left standing. Jensen dismounted, rifle leveled. "You're done, Everett," he shouted. Cole stepped out from the porch, battered but upright. "So are you." They faced each other across a field of dying torchlight. Then came the sound, a single click, a flash, and both men fired. When the smoke cleared, Jensen lay sprawled in the dirt, hat beside him. Cole's arm bled, but he stayed standing. Cobb dropped his gun, backing away. "You're finished, Everett. Sheriff will hang you sure as sunrise." Cole lowered his rifle. "Maybe, but at least I'll sleep tonight." Cobb fled into the dark. The sound of his horse faded until it was just wind again. When morning came, the valley was still. The ranch fence stood charred but upright, the ground scattered with shell casings and dust. Clara stepped out, light falling across her face. She helped Cole bandage his arm. "They'll talk about this," she said. "Let 'em," he replied. "Maybe next time they'll think before they tie someone up." She smiled faintly. "You didn't have to do it." He looked toward the horizon. "I know, but some things you just can't ride past." For a while, neither spoke. The wind carried the scent of mesquite and gunpowder, softening with the sunrise. Weeks later, the sheriff came, saw the bodies buried proper, and left with more questions than orders. No one in town ever tied another soul to a fence again. Clara stayed on through the spring, helping mend fences, and tend cattle. And when the flowers bloomed near the cottonwood, Cole carved 2 small initials in the bark, CC. Not as lovers yet, but as 2 people who refused to be broken by what men thought was right. Years later, folks would still tell the story of the rancher who faced down a mob for a woman's voice. And some nights, when the wind crossed the valley just right, you could almost hear the echo of rope against wood, followed by the whisper of a knife cutting it loose. Final shot. Cole Everett stands beside the fence at dawn, coat flapping in the wind, the same knife glinting in his hand. One man against the wide, silent west, free at last.